Welcome. This is the Lifetime Cash Flow Through Real Estate Investing podcast. This is where you'll learn strategies to help you achieve lifetime financial freedom through real estate investment. Your host, Rod Khleif, has owned over 2,000 homes and apartments, and he brings experts in all aspects of real estate investment and management onto the show. Now, here's your host, Rod Khleif.
A couple of quick things. I wanted to let you guys know that I felt it was my responsibility to create an online space where multifamily investors could go and connect and share ideas and ask questions and get encouragement and peer mentor each other and find accountability partners, even joint venture together and just learn and grow in this exciting business. So I've created it. And I'm going to have a lot of my podcast guests there who are experts in multifamily investing, my private coaching students, or just basically an incredible peer group of investors who are already taking action on their dreams of building lifetime cash flow through multifamily properties. So all you have to do is go to multifamilycommunity.com and it'll take you directly to the Facebook group to join. Now, I'm going to be moderating the group, so I'm going to be there a lot. And we're going to try to answer every question that comes up there. But if you want to ask me questions personally, just go to my personal page and ask them there because I try to answer every question there as well. Also, I've been going live on Facebook. Typically, I try to do a real estate piece, and then I try to do a psychology of success piece. And I hope you'll come check it out. I've already done several, how to buy a multifamily property while you've got a full-time job. I did another one on building courage and confidence. I did another one on doing a vision board. I did one today on getting negativity out of your life. So come check it out. If you can do it while I'm live, come say hi. And even if it's after I'm live, say hello or ask a question if you've got it, because we answer every question, or I answer every question that shows up there. Last but not least, if you've been listening to this podcast, hopefully you've come to realize that I really love this. I really love what I'm doing, and I love adding value to you guys. So I've created an incredible course and coaching program where I personally coach you. My goal is to help you crush it in your lives and in this business and build your own lifetime cash flow quickly and safely. Now, if you want to get more information on my course or coaching, text the word CRUSH to 41411 and we'll hook you up. Okay, let's get to it. Welcome to another edition of How to Build Lifetime Cash Flow Through Real Estate Investing. I'm Rod Khleif, and I am thrilled you're here. And I know you're going to get a ton of value from the lady we're interviewing today. She's a real ball of fire. Her name is Meghan McCallum, and she's an investor. She's got 40-plus units, and I think has a great outlook on life from the very little that I know of her. And I'm excited to have her on the show. Welcome, Meghan.
Thanks, Rod. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. My pleasure. So, we don't have a lot of women on the show. I need to fix that. So I'm really glad you're on the show and you're an investor and you're kicking butt. So tell us a little bit about Meghan. I mean, how you started in this business and how you got to where you're at. And
sure.
Let's go there.
I'll give you the 10,000 foot view. So my career, I've spent 14 years working as a firefighter, paramedic.
Wow.
Yeah. And finally got to chief. And, spent all my time digging into that and got my master's degree from University of Chicago in threat response and management. And then once I made it to chief, I wasn't really excited about it. And I ended up getting fired, which was a blessing in disguise. I was in New Mexico and it had taken me away from my family and I thought it's what I wanted. And luckily it didn't work. And I came home with a smile on my face, driving 3 days, knowing I was going to get into real estate. Wow. So I started in real estate in 2012 when I bought my first duplex, and I lived in one unit. A lot of people.
Where at?
Evanston, Illinois. I'm originally from Chicago, but in my firefighting career, I worked for the Department of Defense and the Department of Energy, so I moved around quite a bit. So we started investing in the Chicagoland area 2012, which was a great time to buy. So
Perfect time.
I can't tell you that I was brilliant, but I waited for 3.5 years to buy. So even without knowing, I kind of had a little feeling that, good things were going to come to those who waited. So we did that. And then I had 2 rental units plus the unit I was living in, and everything, it was easy. It was easy not knowing what I was doing wrong.
It was easy because did you love it at that point? Or were you building your love for it?
I was building my love for being an entrepreneur in business. I didn't know what I was doing. Like most people jump into it and think it's going to be this easy thing. And I didn't have a great lease agreement. I didn't have great ways for, I didn't have a system. I wasn't systematized. I was doing something that I was like, I did love real estate. I always loved real estate. So being able to finally start investing and seeing the cash flow come in and, learning about the tax laws, it was just a brand new thing to get excited about and educate myself in. So I started investing full-time in 2015 and just started buying. My whole plan was doing buy and holds. I was doing that through a method of purchasing with cash or equity and renovating a property and then refinancing out of it and basically getting a house.
Tried and true business model.
Sure.
Okay. On that first duplex, you lived in one side. And I just love it when people publicly say that on the show, because I've got so many people that haven't taken action, and it's such a great way to start.
It's easy.
Right?
Just move in.
Right.
Yeah,
and you get great financing typically. I don't know if yours was a fix up or if you went ahead and got FHA or good easy financing on it. And okay, fantastic. Okay, please continue.
Yeah, it was a foreclosed property. And I had it recently appraised, and the appraiser himself goes, I've heard about this deal and what a good, he's like, people have talked about how well you bought this property. And I was like, oh
nice.
Who knew? Who knew I had these skills back then?
Yeah, you could just pretend you planned it that way on your first deal, right?
Sure. I nailed it. My first deal, right? It was pure luck. So it needed some work, and we eventually put about $40,000 into it, but that was to take it to the next level. Like we put really high-end bathrooms in, high-end appliances, renovated the basement to make it usable space.
Oh, great.
We did some value add stuff to it, but nothing, it didn't need a ton of work. So, and in living in it, you don't feel so bad when you have to put in a $15,000 bathroom.
Oh, sure. I mean, let me ask you this, from a numbers standpoint, I mean, was it a cost-effective way to get started? I mean, did you have much of a payment once you got the other side rented, or how'd that work out?
We lived on the main floor, and that's the one that's right now that's renting for $3,360 a month.
Wow.
And when we moved in, we could have had that money. We should have lived upstairs. When we moved in, the upstairs unit was renting for $1,400 a month, and it should be right now it's vacant. So we're looking for tenants, and it'll be rented for about $2,400 a month. So we were
in Indiana.
No. This is Evanston, Illinois.
Oh, Illinois. That's like Evanston is Evanston in Chicagoland, or where is Evanston?
It's the suburb just north of Chicago along the lake.
Okay. Well, there you go. That's why those rents are like astronomical.
Yeah,
fantastic.
It wouldn't make much sense in too many places in Indiana. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So continue with your career in the business.
Sure. So our mortgage on that property itself was about $2,300 a month because the taxes are crazy. So the upstairs unit really paid the taxes and then a portion of the mortgage, but still. Well, then of course we started putting Airbnb in. Oh, you did? We did. And if you Google my name, one of the top things would be me fighting the city of Evanston. So they didn't like Airbnb. The neighborhood didn't, the alderman didn't, the mayor didn't.
And you know what they can all go do, right? Yes. Okay.
Yeah, they can go write a new law that I can work around. So it ended up coming out of that. We were renting like rooms to now Northwestern University is right there. So we had like visiting faculty members, we had doctors, we had med students, we had people looking to move to the city. We had a foreign exchange student. We had a couple from Texas who would come and visit their daughter who lived in town, and he was a preacher. And these are people I invited to my wedding. So these people who would come in weren't just random, and we were very picky, but the neighbors still didn't like that. And the city ended up making a law against the utilization of Airbnb. So you have to have a 30-day
that's how they do it.
Contract.
That's how they do it. It's got to be a 30-day lease. I think they've done that here in Sarasota as well. The big hotel lobby as well, of course. That they're against it. But okay, so what was after that? What did you do after the duplex?
I just wanted to say the one thing though. One person from the city was like, "So you're going to stop doing this, right?" And I said, "I will comply with the laws as they're written because that's I'm a good citizen."
Right.
But they never told me that I couldn't have a 24-hour cancellation on my 30-day contract.
That is freaking brilliant.
So
Oh my God, I love that so
if you
much.
want to do your Airbnb, have a 30-day contract with a 24-hour cancellation policy, and you are too being a good citizen.
Oh, that is so freaking awesome. I love that hack. Oh, that is so
Yeah.
beautiful.
They haven't given me any trouble yet, but I also haven't been doing it. But I'm thinking about doing it shortly. I have a house, like a single family I'll be renovating and doing short-term rentals.
All right. I am so impressed already,
Little tidbit
Megan. All
right
right.
there.
And that was your
Okay.
first property too. All right. Let's
Nothing
keep
like
going.
fighting the man. Yeah.
Let's
Fox
keep-
News showed up at my front door and I was like, I'm just going to do what's legal. And that was it. And still
Oh,
do.
that's awesome. That's
All right.
awesome. So what was the next one? Or what was the next decent deal you did? Talk about that and where.
You know, we kept, and I know you guys your listeners are mostly here for multifamily, but as I moved, I'd pick up single families, and I always picked up interesting ones that we could either take and get on the National Registry of like landmarks. And
Oh, so you bought older ones. Okay. So
yes.
like
I only
antebellum
buy
stuff.
older.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Okay.
Yeah. So we've got a mid-century modern out in Maryland that's still under renovation, but the tenants want to live there nonetheless.
Wow.
And then I started investing. And
so you like gentrifying areas? Is that how you target this, or you just go for the older properties and look for value add opportunities? Are they already gentrified? I guess the areas that you're primarily in.
Yeah, they're pretty much already gentrified. I typically like to buy properties in nicer areas, A and B areas, but you know, now we're getting into some C areas that we're trying to bring the building up to an A area, kind of like the 20-unit building. We've got a 20-unit building we're renovating.
Well, let's talk about that. Let's go right into that 20 unit. Tell us about that. How you found it. Give us some detail. Where it is. What you're paying. All that. Can you mind divulging?
Absolutely. So I've been looking into getting into apartments because investing is a slippery slope. If I can have one roof and 2 doors, that's great. One roof and 3 doors is even better. Even 4, 5, 6, 7. So I found that time is the hardest part. So once you find a deal, you're going to put just as much time in stressing out in fixing it up as you would, whether it's a single family home or if it's a 20-unit apartment building. Or it's
the same amount of work. And sometimes it's even less work, believe it or not.
Because you have people.
Right.
You get a team with a bigger place. So I love teams. I like partnering. I like other people. Because I don't think I'm alone all that intelligent. I am just a collection of all the people I meet. And that's what's made me what I think successful in this business.
I love that. I love the way you just described that.
You know, even the first year I started investing, I put an offer on a 144 unit building, and the largest property I had at that point was 3 units, and I didn't get it, but I figured if I could buy it right, it didn't matter if I had no experience, I'd figure it out, because with enough time and money, we can solve all of our problems. So
wow. Okay. I have to stop you right there. I don't want you to push past that. I really just want that to sink in for everybody listening. So your first year, you wrote an offer on a 144 unit with the mindset that if you got it at that price, you would make it work.
Yeah.
Guys, I love that. I hope you're taking notes. That's ballsy and I love it. So, all right.
You're never going to succeed on the risks you don't take. And is it really a risk? No, it's housing. It's housing for a lot of people. So it's not really that risky. You know, again, most of our risk comes in improper purchases. So, you know, I poured over the numbers. I shared it with a number of people. I knew I could come up with the down payment. I knew I could get the loan. And I was like, I don't know how we'll do it, but that's what books are for. You know, if you want a mentor, pick up a book. I mean, that's all you really need to do.
Sure.
So I aimed high for a couple properties there, and you know, those larger units. So if you're just trying to get into this business, you're going to lose out to the guys with bigger pockets and the guys who are figuring it all out. So I started focusing more on the smaller, like mom and pop apartment building.
Yeah. Mom and pop, that's a sweet spot, guys. And you've heard me say it before. Anything 5 to 30 units is mom and pops. And there's so many advantages to dealing in that space. You're not competing against Grant Cardone or people that have, you know, institutional investors. You're competing with people like mom and pops. That's what you're competing with. You're not buying from institutional investors. Much easier to go direct to seller with your marketing than if you're going after 100-unit complexes. In fact, it's almost impossible to go to direct seller with 100-unit complexes. You're going to deal with brokers, but you can set up a campaign to go right after these mom and pops. And so love it. Okay. So you started focusing on that space.
Mm-hmm. And this was in the Quad City. At this point, I was focusing on the Quad Cities area. I was living not too far out of that because that's where we had some in-laws.
Okay.
And I would get a printout of basically all, everything that was for sale with more than 5 units or more. And I just watched it for a year, and I'd watch the ones that sat, and I'd watch the ones that would sell. And, I did as much data mining as I could, figuring out what the cost per units were going for. The other day, someone told me that, my banker told me that, for apartments around here, a cap rate of 8.5 is good. And I was like, don't settle for anything less than 10. The banker wants you to settle. Like, he just wants you to get a loan and buy a property. The investor wants you to get a deal. So I would throw out a bunch of, low ball offers. I have a really great system of working with the MLS with my realtor. He actually, and guys, go ahead and steal this one. But if you get to a point where you really trust your realtor, you can do what I've done. And what I've done is I wrote a $500 earnest money check or a $1,000 earnest money check. Because most of the properties that where we're at are about $150,000 would be the max of where we're going to invest.
Sure. So that's a reasonable earnest money. Mm-hmm.
Right. So he had that, and the 2 was blank. So what he would do is he would, depending on the property I was offering on, just take the check, Xerox it, then write on who it was to. So I didn't have to go in and write earnest checks every single time I made an offer. So he'd make a verbal offer.
Did he sign your name, or did you just have a bunch of signed copies of the back page? That's it.
For the checks I gave him, I signed the checks.
No, contracts, the actual contracts.
Oh, the contracts. I would go in first he would make a verbal offer, and then he would say, so he would shoot a verbal offer out to the other real estate agent, see if we were in the ballpark. If they were ready to play and they started negotiating, we would write a formal contract. I would then go in and sign that.
Okay, so this was just so that he didn't want to do a verbal offer unless he had a check in hand. I got you.
A lot of times they want, and even with the verbal offers, they were asking for the earnest check.
I got you. Okay, so that's a great way to move quickly, and to save yourself time. It's all about time. Awesome.
And my real estate agent also knows I'm looking to close on deals, and I trust him. So I've gotten off-market deals from him because he's found people who their houses were like, they weren't going to sell to an FHA buyer, or
they needed too much work, right?
Too much work. So he would introduce me to all those people who had non-marketable properties, and I've had some really great deals that way. So
fantastic. You've heard me say it until ad nauseum. These broker relationships will make you wealthy. You value them. You nurture them. You be the person that sends them the handwritten thank you card after your first conversation that sets you apart. If they send you a deal, you always respond. Don't be the black hole. You always tell them why you're not interested if you're not. You set yourself apart and you develop a lifelong relationship. This whole business is nothing but relationships.
Networking, partnerships, loyalty. You got to be able to, our job is to take kicks in the teeth every day. Everybody wants your money. Everyone thinks you have a ton of it. Everyone just wants their life easier. Contractors, tenants, even your own family half the time. So you have to get good at taking kicks in the teeth. If you'll take them for other people, then you've got real team members. So yeah.
No, it's all about team. This is a team sport. If you're going to buy anything 5 units or plus, it's absolutely a team sport. If you get the scale that you've gotten to, Megan, where you've got multiple plexes and then this 20 unit, it's a team sport. And what's so great about this team sport is you can supplement any deficiencies that you have. So if you haven't got the credit, you haven't got the income, you haven't got the net worth, maybe you don't have the experience, you bring other people onto the team that supplement those deficiencies, and you're off to the races. So this 20 unit, you got a deal on it because you were studying and
I got a great deal on it. And again, it's part of that sharing. So I've been to a lot of networking things in the area, and I started asking people, especially if they had multifamilies, guys, if you do this, it'll help you a ton. Ask for anyone you know's appraisals on their properties once they purchase them. Because now in your hand, you hold comps for property. Like, let's say, this is what happened. A guy bought a 6-unit building around the corner from this 20-unit building. I said, can I get your appraisal? And he kind of looked at me funny, and I was like, I want to see the data. I want to know that, what they're saying about the property, the square, what the price per square foot is, or, I want to see what comps they're pulling up. I took that, looked at a property that was available, made an offer that day. That's the 20 unit we ended up getting. I only had the faith in myself to do it because I had the data. I had the information.
No, it's a great way to get the data. If you guys, again, another ad nauseum comment, you've got to be going to your local RIA meetings, because for this very reason, you were able to connect with somebody that owned a property right around the corner. That's a great reason. Another great reason, obviously, is there are a lot of people that go to those meetings that have money that will never take action on a property. But if you've got a relationship with them, they'll loan you the money. They'll partner with you on a deal. They'll let you do the heavy lifting. So you must go. You go to your local RIA then, obviously, and
No,
you don't.
I started my own. And
Oh, well, that's right. That's right. That's
I
right.
started my own group, my own club, and RIAs are a good place to start meeting other people because, and you know, there's a number of different sites, websites too. You can find Meetup has a real estate investing meetup. Go look that up if you don't know groups that are meeting. The Bigger Pockets website, they have a whole events page of meetings going around, you know, going on around you. But start one yourself, because that's going to give you what, first of all, it's going to add value to you and your business, because now you're being looked at as
you're
an influencer.
That's right. You're an influencer. You've got credibility,
market.
Instant credibility. Right. Yeah.
And then people also just gravitate to you because people are generally nervous or fear-based, you know, so most people won't do it on their own. But once you start up like a club or a meeting of people together, the RIAs are very general and broad. A lot of times there are things being sold. I'm not a big fan of paying a guru to do what you can do.
Oh yeah, a lot of the big RIAs, I mean, it's very profit based. They'll bring in a speaker splits the sales with the house, and it's very profit based. And you're absolutely right. And you have to be very, very careful of that. But setting up your own is absolutely brilliant. Now you were also talking about doing some sort of a network. You want to talk about that for a second?
Sure, we can go right into that.
Well, actually, you know what? Let's save that.
Again?
Let's save that. But I do want to talk more about this 20 unit. Can you give us some numbers? I mean, what'd you pay for it? What are you anticipating? What are you doing to it? What condition was it in when you found it? All of that.
It was a bank foreclosure. It had been on the market for almost a year.
When did you close on this?
April.
Wow.
End of April.
You found a bank foreclosure that had been on the market a year in this market. Guys, I hope you're taking notes. Okay. They're out there. The deals are still out there if you're willing to hunt. Okay.
You got to look small. You got to be, that's what you're going to find, the small mom and pops. So bank, I think I offered $265,000 for it, and I got it for $315,000. And my goal was to get it for $325,000. So as you can tell by that number, there's some renovation that needed to be done to this property. So we got ready and we rolled up our sleeves, but I'll tell you a little story about right before we close. Make sure you always do a walk through like seconds before you close on your deal or send someone. So I'm lucky enough to have the most amazing employee in the world, and I sent him to go do the walkthrough. His name is Joey Allen, and I had to drop his name there because without him, I wouldn't be where I am today.
All right. Good job, Joey, for whatever you're about to tell us.
So Joey went and did the walkthrough and gave me a call as I'm sitting in the parking lot to close. And he's like, we can't close. He calls me, we can't close, Megan. And I'm like, what? I'm like, what's wrong? He's like, the whole basement's filled with poop.
The sewer backed up. Oh, that's a joy.
The sewer backed up.
Oh, that's a joy.
It was deep, and it was bad. So we were supposed to close on it, I believe, in March, or maybe we were supposed to close in April and closed in May. That's what it was. We were supposed to close in April. We ended up closing a month later. So we had to go, and it actually backed up when we did our inspection that day too. So we had the guy out and he rooted everything through. And so this was our second time having the poop in the basement knowledge. Yeah. So
nice.
So that delayed our closing, and then we tried messing with, the negotiation.
Sure. Beating them up a little bit. Yeah. That's a great opportunity to beat them up a little bit.
Just a little. And they weren't giving us much. But it was a great deal. I didn't care. But at the same time, I wanted to practice the negotiation.
Absolutely. That's how you learn. You practice it. If
so I didn't want to lose it.
You get everything you never asked for. So, if you don't ask, you don't get. So good.
So yeah, we beat each other up for a little while, but finally I was like, okay, I'll take $3,000 as a credit to get it cleaned up properly. And I want to do it because I don't want the property management or the bank doing it.
Schlopping it either. Right.
Because they didn't clean up very thoroughly after the first.
All right, well, let's not get into the details of all that. That's so you closed on it. What sort of renovations do you have to do? Just out of curiosity, maybe there's some value we can add there.
Sure. We just put a whole new parking lot in.
Okay.
We have 8 units currently being renovated, 4 of which were in the basement were untenanted for years because they had a water pipe burst from tenants leaving the front door open. So water pipes coming that were exposed froze, and
Wow.
the whole basement was unusable.
So you've got a lot of drywall work.
Yep, drywall work. Kitchens had to be replaced.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So they're complete remodels. Okay.
Yep. So we got those being renovated. We'll renovate all the common space.
Now they're actual basement units?
Yeah, we have 4 basement units that we are going to turn into pet-friendly units.
Oh, I love it. Love it. Guys, that's another brilliant move. Put a spin on it for people have trouble sometimes renting properties with pets. So you take your undesirable units. Love it. Absolutely love it. Brilliant.
So, and they have concrete floors already. So we're just going to stain them.
Perfect.
And, go look how cool it is, but really your dog's not going to damage it. So
right. We've got this retro, earthy feel for you with these stained floors. Love it.
Right. So always find a way to make your weakness your strength.
Right.
Then we're doing the common spaces like the hallways. We put a new security system in with new security doors, with RFID key fobs, so that
cool.
For greater security.
Absolutely.
We've put security cameras at both entrances and all the common spaces. So
is this a C area? I think you said it was a C area.
Yeah, it's a C area, but I would say it's like a C plus because it's 2 blocks down from a local university who is having a hard time finding new ways to add residences. So if again, this is my exit strategy here to sell to the university.
Oh, actually sell it to them. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. 20 unit building is all efficiencies and 1 bedroom apartments.
Okay.
So we're doing the common areas. We're adding a gym. So we're adding amenities. We're really going for the person who is eco-conscious. So we're making a lot of eco-conscious choices using eco-conscious materials. We're putting a green roof up on the building where we're hoping to have, I've got some friends who do some really cool things in Chicago. Chicago's one of the greenest cities, but they're farming rooftops.
So you're thinking about doing that, actually putting some plots up there. Oh, very cool.
And
very cool.
We're going to have it rentable. So if, you live in our building and you want to do your own organic farming, you can rent like a 4 foot by 4 foot space to grow your own vegetables or something.
Wow. I love it. Yeah. And that's that square gardening thing. We're doing that in my house where you do anyway, we're going to sidetrack here. 4 foot square. Okay. You can put a lot, you can put more in like a 4 foot square if you do it right than you can over a big garden. Well, that's awesome. So what did you have to do up, I don't want to get too derailed, but what did you have to do on the roof to handle gardening at the top? I mean, did you have to shore it up?
You can't use conventional soil. And we haven't begun that phase of our renovation.
Fair enough.
But the soil we'll be using is actually one that's been created, like a man-made soil. And it's, I believe it's like a quarter of the weight. So a cubic foot of soil outside is about 100 pounds. This stuff is more along the lines with the vegetation in it, somewhere between 18 and 25 pounds.
Very cool. So you've started to evaluate. This is all right. Well, we got off the track here, but that's very cool. So what's next?
Well, hopefully getting that apartment building.
Well, obviously getting it renovated, getting it rented, and then, are you going to try to sell it right away, or are you going to try to rent it out and cash flow for a while?
I think I want to hold it for a couple years. I'll probably refinance and take the equity out to go buy another property. What's most important to me is that we're working towards systematizing doing this again and finding what failed us or,
Yeah, my experience with 1 bedrooms and efficiencies is there's a lot more turnover.
Sure. And
they're a lot more management intensive. And not to say you can't make a lot of money with them, but people have heard me say this on the podcast a million times. I'm a real estate buyer, not a seller. And so I look at a property, my exit strategy is cash flow, period. Legacy cash flow. But in this case with 1 bedrooms and efficiencies, I think your exit plan's brilliant because it's especially the fact that you're setting it up, you're adding this eclectic green component to it and you're putting the gym in, it's got school written all over it.
Yeah, so we're really going the first couple of years where we're holding it, we're really looking for work live kind of people. So either creatives or people who don't have to go to work and can work from home. We're going to have another thing we're putting in the basement. So we're putting the gym in. We're also going to put in like a conference room / party room that they could use. So if they want to have a meeting, they could have it right there in the basement so they can run their business from there.
So you'll have internet access, plenty of outlets, a couple of beanbag chairs, and let them go to town. conference table. Love it.
Mhm.
Love it. So what advice would you have for aspiring multifamily investors? A lot of my listeners haven't taken action on their first deal. What would you, if you were sitting in front of one of them, what would you tell them?
I would first tell them, or any investor, your investments are going to be successful. You will be successful in life when you find what you love doing and what you're good at. So maybe you're a doctor and you've got those golden handcuffs and you have that money. Don't go and try to learn all of this on your own. You'll pull your hair out and you'll give up. Find a partner. Partner up. You can be as educated as, you can be educated as all get up. Without education, without application, is useless. It's nothing. Doesn't matter how much you know, it's how much you're capable of doing with what you know. So if you're sitting there and you don't know why you haven't made a move yet or put out an offer, figure out what you need, find out what your weakness is, and then find a way to make them either your own personal strengths so that you can step forward, or partner with somebody who's not afraid, who especially it's a bonus if they have experience. But
right. Well, of course. Now, if you're going to partner with somebody, ideally, well, I shouldn't say that. There's a lot of young guys that have had on the show and that talk to me regularly that are just getting started. They've partnered up and they're making things happen. They're enthusiastic. But in your example of a doctor, if you're a doctor that doesn't have the bandwidth to learn this business, don't dabble. By all means, my caveat to your, my rebuttal to your comment is, could a doctor learn this business and master it? Yes, I've interviewed guys on the show that are worth tens of millions of dollars that are doctors, but they took the time out of their practice to learn the business, or they had the bandwidth to learn the business, so they didn't dabble. And that's the caveat to that. But if you don't have the bandwidth, absolutely a great way is to partner. No, absolutely no question. I mean, you bring the money, you bring the financial prowess to a young, hungry, not even doesn't have to be young, but a hungry entrepreneur that's going to be the operator. That's a match made in heaven. I mean, that's how I did it. In my 20s, I bought tens of millions of dollars worth of real estate, 50-50. You put up the money, I do all the work, we split the deal. That's it. It's a beautiful way to do business. So
it's easy. I mean, honestly, if you broke your leg, could you fix your own leg? Sure, you could go to med school. You could take all the time to go to med school, and you could learn to be a doctor, and you could fix your own leg, but your leg's not going to be broken by then. So it's the same thing, the opposite. Like, you're a doctor, you don't want to take all the time to learn to figure out how to be that real estate agent or the real estate investor, because by the time it happens, whatever deal you were looking at is gone, and you don't have any need for it anyway. So.
Okay. Well, I'm going to respectfully disagree with you on that last comment. Only because
everyone can be a doctor. Okay.
No, not a doc, not that part of it. Just the part that you can't be a real estate investor, because you absolutely can if you're willing to roll up your sleeves and learn this business.
Oh, no. You can. It's just, it'll take you so much more time. You want to get a deal done. You want to get moving today. Find someone who can do that.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right.
Be ready for that next one. Then you're ready. You've got that application. Yeah.
Got it. Yeah. And now I get it. Now, if you want to take action today, a great way to start is with a partner. Totally agree. Totally agree. I mean, I interviewed Grant Cardone. He took 4 years to study this business before he bought his first apartment complex. You don't have to do that. Now he's got a jet and 5,000 units, but I mean, you don't have to
be if he jumped right in and just got started. I mean, where would he be today? It's like
totally agreed. We miscommunicated. I didn't realize what you were saying. You were talking about taking action right now with a partner. Got it.
No worries.
All right. So talk about this cool thing you're doing with RIAs, or you're starting to do. I don't know if you've actually pulled the trigger on it, or it's just a thought, or where you're at with it.
So I wanted to share my experience with more and more people, because I was getting more and more inquiries locally about, hey, how are you doing what you're doing so fast? Like, I would go to these groups and people are like, how are you moving so fast? And I was like, I don't know that I'm doing anything special. So then I started meeting with more people, and then I'd be at meetings and I'd feel like I was the only one talking. So I was like, I don't want to take over someone else's group. I'm gonna go start my own. And so we started a club where this year, we started it in probably this is about the time that we purchased the apartment. So
May, June. Fantastic. So you've just been at it a few months. Awesome. Well, good for you.
So we got this club going, and the basis of it is we're all about sharing, partnering, peer mentoring, data sharing. So, I mean, we use Google Drive, and people. Oh,
that's how you share data. It's beautiful. That's how we do it in my operation. Yep.
We use the Google Drive. You tell us you want to come to the meetings. You just come to a meeting and we'll give you access to that. Then we're going to ask for you in return to add value to everybody else in the group and upload. So it could be like recent contractor bids. It could be appraisals. It could be hey, maybe you've just been really looking at this one property and you put up your analysis. So, people put up their sheets on how they do their analysis on deals. So everyone's sharing. We're all very sharing based and partner based.
I love that concept. Absolutely love it. Brilliant. How's your attendance? How big is the group so far?
We have 40 people that,
wow.
We have 40 people currently active in the Quad Cities Club. We expanded because I had someone reach out to me and say, I want that in my area. And I said, great, I'm going to help you. And so then a woman reached out to me from Madison, Wisconsin. So I was like, set up a date. I'll come, I'll talk with you and whoever shows up, and we'll get it started. And so they've gotten they're probably about 40 people. And I don't 30 to 40 people. I've been to almost all.
You just gave them a little framework. I mean, really, you gave them a framework. And how are you going to align? How are you going to align with these other groups?
So when Madison gets, each place will have their own website that'll help drive traffic to more people coming to this club. There's no fee. It's all about sharing, but it's also one where we're going to hold you accountable. So you're going to get held accountable for not sharing, which means you're going to lose your privileges. So if you want to come back, you're welcome, but you got to share. We're going to unite them all by, again, right now we're using the Google Drive. So everybody in Madison will have access to all of the data that they have in the Quad Cities. In the Quad Cities, because we've been going longer, we've also been doing web streaming of our meetings. So the Madison people sometimes will hop on and see what we're talking about the night before their meeting is. So I would go from the Quad Cities meeting to the Madison meeting the next night. Now Milwaukee's got one. Chicago will have one next week. I'm currently in Grand Rapids, Michigan. And I met with some investors here last night, and they're kind of next.
No kidding. Well, good for you. So what's the framework? I don't want to digress too much, but what's the framework of a typical meeting? What do you do? Give me the syntax.
Sure. I'm all about, you are too, networking, right? So the beginning of the meeting it's kind of like, come on in, let's all sit down. Each location has a little bit different spin and different flavor, but that's great because you
got a restaurant or you got a, meeting room somewhere, whatever. Yeah.
Some places they meet at a coffee shop. Some places are a restaurant. We were meeting in my 20-unit building for a while so people could see the changes that were going on and everybody could ask questions.
Love it. Cool.
Trying to get people into doing the same thing I did.
Right.
So that way they could see our hardships and whatnot. So we get started. We kind of hang out, check in with everybody. Very friendly stuff, not even necessarily real estate invested things. Then we go into we talk about does anyone have any deals? Is anyone looking for a partner on something? Does anyone, so they could be like, I'm looking for an investment partner, or I'm looking for a partner to flip and actually do the work with me. Or, people could be like, I found this deal, I don't know what to do with it. So one guy will be like, hey, you should do this. And another guy will be like, you should do this. We kind of coach each other on specific things we're working on. Then sometimes we'll have someone speak. So we've been able to invite some speakers to come in, and we've had some amazing, amazing investors come and talk at our meetings, and they do it for free. We don't pay them. So that's why we don't make any money like a RIA.
Right.
In fact, I have one of the greatest CPAs that very few people have heard about flying in from Denver to go to all of our club meetings, and she's going to speak at all of them.
Very cool.
Her name is Linda Wiegand, and she's out of Denver, Colorado. And I've talked to a lot of CPAs, and she just blows them all out of the water. So
she's going to talk about cost segregation and ways to do depreciation and accelerate the benefits on a property. Love it.
Yeah. So we've people don't even know why they want to get into these multifamilies. And they're like, wait, there's more benefits than just having a quad? Yeah, that FHA loan on that 4-unit was great for you before. Wait till you see all the advantages and the tax advantages and the ways you can, multi-unit families they're kind of magical. There's even in certain states, if you set your corporation up that owns a specific building in certain states, if you do it as a co-op as opposed to an LLC, you have significant tax savings. And most people don't even know that.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah. So you got to look at, that's why you want to know your localities. So this club thing that we've set up and linking people are giving us more knowledge in the nuances of the localities or the county specifically.
It's a cumulative brain. I love it. I love the concept. I love the fact that you've got a Google Drive that you're sharing with. That is a brilliant idea. And
the sharing economy is taking off with everything right now.
Sure is.
I was like, let's just apply that to real estate investing and networking, and that's what we're doing. And it's great.
Is there a name of these groups? Or you didn't come up with a stock name, or everybody calls it whatever they want?
We just call it REI Club. So it'd be Quad Cities REI Club, Madison REI Club. We probably should start branding it and doing that. But again, it's been, Madison's is only, I think, a month and a half old, and Milwaukee's is less than a month. So we'll get there.
Guys, those of you listening, We just gave you the framework for you to do this yourself, okay? Go out there, set up a group. If you have to start on Meetup, start on Meetup. And some great ideas, some great strategies. You can reach out to Meghan. How can people get a hold of you, Meghan?
You can email me at Meghan at McCallumHoldings.com.
Can you spell that, please?
Sure. It's MEGHAN at MCCALLUM Holdings, HOLDINGS.com.
Perfect. Well, it'll be in the show notes as well, guys. But I just thought, for those of you driving, you want to reach out to her if you've got a question about anything.
Or if you want to start a club and you want, let's say you're in St. Louis. I don't know anyone in St. Louis. I
do. It's where the wife's from.
Oh, great. See, so if you're somewhere in the Midwest, Indianapolis, wherever you are, if you want to start a group, I'm more than happy to help you, and I'm more than happy to attend and talk to some of the the people you get out, and we can get you linked up with us and start sharing with us.
Fantastic. And it's such a great way to do everything you just described. You have instant credibility. I learn as much as I give in this podcast, because whenever you're a teacher, you're learning. And so it's just an incredible way to, be in front of this, and you're going to get investors interested in investing with you. You're going to get private lenders interested in loaning you money for your deals. And that's the bonus of adding value. Well, listen, Meghan, it's been awesome. I really appreciate you being on the show. You've added a ton of value. Is there any question that you wish I'd asked you?
I'm glad you didn't ask me what's next, because unlike most people, I do not focus. I know my personality type. I know my strengths. I'm a big picture person, and I've got this eye for opportunity. So I'm always looking, and then I'm always looking for the person, to get behind it, because I'm not that detail focused. So yeah, invest in people. If you can if you can figure out how to invest in people, you can be in real estate. So.
Okay. You know what? I can't let that go by. I gotta add something to that. So you are the big picture person. You're the idea person. You put the deals together. Have you got a partner that's the detail person?
Basically, my employee Joey is
okay.
He's my guy.
So he's the detail guy. Okay.
Yeah.
Because you are primed to have that sort of a person in your life, so you can take it to the next level. So I'm really glad to hear you've got Joey. So good job, Joey.
All
right.
And then I'm starting another company with a gentleman who's a lease option specialist. And I know this is not really for your listeners, because it's based on single family investing, but yeah, I'm the big picture on that. And he's the details guy who works out everything. I gain the trust of the sellers, and sometimes buyers, and sometimes the city, just wondering what the heck we're doing all the time. So
awesome. Yeah. Awesome. No, that's a great match. And whenever you've got somebody that's the face of it, and then you've got somebody behind the scenes dotting the I's and crossing the T's, that's a fantastic way to go.
I would die without detail people. It's not me. So
right. No, I get it. Same here. Well, thanks for being on the show, Meghan. You added a ton of value, and it was a lot of fun. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Take care.
All right.
Thank you for listening to the Lifetime Cash Flow Through Real Estate Investing podcast. If you've enjoyed the show, please subscribe, and then take a moment to visit iTunes and leave a 5-star rating and review. For more resources to connect with us further, please visit our website at lifetimecashflowpodcast.com. Tune in next week for our next show.